Law Talk with Nick Maruchak. Thanks to MKI Legal, your trusted employment and family lawyers.
Nick Maruchak joins us from MKI Legal. G'day, Nick. How are you?
G'day, Bowie. I'm great.
That's the ticket. We've got a couple of topics we want to talk about today, but I would invite our listeners to phone through with any of your legal problems. 133 882. Please give us a shout. If you're having some dramas with a contract, any family issues around wills, trustees and the like, we do take a lot of calls on some of those topics. What would you like to kick us off with today, Nick? What's on your mind?
Well, I do have some stuff to talk about when it comes to traps, 7 tips for people who are doing residential contract work. So we can go into that if you like.
Well, I think we got Rob on the line from who wants to have a chat to you about a plumbing issue. And we're just hooking Rob up now. So to be listening for Nick Maruchak, we've got some traps for you there on contracts. 133 882 is the phone number. We'll get Rob in just a second. He's having some problems. We'll come back to that. All right, way you go, Nick. We had Rob on the line, but his line keeps dropping out. Go ahead.
All right, so this is we had a caller a few weeks back that had an issue with some renovations done to the house. So this is a good opportunity to kind of reflect on that and give people some tips when dealing with residential renovations. So any building work that's between $7,500 and $500,000, whether it's a upgrade to the garage, landscaping, installing a pool, is covered by the Home Building Contracts Act. So that's and that gives consumers a lot of rights. And here's the building industry, house prices rising, with the rental crisis, you're going to have a lot more disputes rising from building contracts. So here's some just quick tips for people and traps, 7 of them. 7's a good number. So first is watch out for unlicensed or uninsured operators, right? So if your work is above $20,000 and you need a building permit, you need a registered builder for that. And they also need to take out home indemnity insurance, which covers you in case the builder goes bankrupt or they disappear. So you want to ask for that and also verify that they are licensed, and good reputable people won't be offended if you ask them to check their qualifications, right? They understand it's a prudent step. That's really good advice. I know with the rise of platforms like High Pages and the like, where people are going to, air taskers and the like, that's really good advice there. Well, Bowie, you got ahead of me because that's my tip number 7. So I'm going to go to 7. Okay. Beware of scams and imposters, right? Okay. Because that's exactly what happens. So often, and this is where, this is the telltale sign of a scam. They won't visit your place. They ask for photos, and then they give you a quote that's just too good to be true, right? And they ask or demand or put pressure on you to pay the deposit to secure it. And then they never rock up. They vanish. So that is something that happens often. Best thing you want to do is get them to visit, meet with them, verify their business. Don't just go yes on an online quote, because that happens more and more these days. So that's a great point. Another one is lack of documentation. So if you meet someone that's really some dodgy operators will just give you informal quotes. They won't put things in writing, and that's a big red flag. Under the Home Building Contracts Act, the contracts must be in writing. They must be signed by both parties, right? So that's required under law. If they don't, there's a penalty for that. And without the proper paperwork, really hard to kind of prove what the scope of the work was and stuff like that. So make sure you document everything. Another big warning sign is, and that people really run foul of, is large upfront deposits, right? So that's a really common complaint. The builder would take the tradies would take a big upfront deposit, and then they'll disappear. They won't finish the work, and all that kind of stuff happens. And then the homeowner is left out of pocket with no one to do the work. So under the Home Building Contracts Act, there is a requirement for the deposit cannot be more than 6.5% of the total contract price. So that's something to bear in mind. Yep. And another rule of thumb is just if it's not covered by the Act, don't pay more than generally 10%. Some works can go a little bit higher than that, but 10% is the rule. Another one is overcharging, right? So, and unauthorized variations. So some contractors will lure people in with a low initial quote and then they pile on the extras later, right? So, they'll charge for work that the customer didn't ask for, or they claim materials cost more than estimated, so then they'll try to get more money out of you. So a few protections here. Under the Home Building Contracts Act, there's a prevention. They can't have any rise and fall clauses, right? So generally the contract should be fixed, and the builder's not allowed to, charge for increase in price escalations in an unlimited amount, and any variations should be in writing as well. So, and they have to be required. That's another one. Another tip.
Just hold that thought. We'll come back to your last couple in just a second, because Greg has phoned in from Guildford. G'day, Greg. How are you? Simon and Nick.
Yeah, g'day, Simon. G'day, Nick. Beautiful day out there in lovely Perth. Look, just a question, Nick. My mother-in-law actually is looking at replacing a fence about 30 metres length. It sits on one side of her block. The other side, obviously, is the city, the council's land. It's reserved land. She's had a couple of quotes put together. We've approached the city, asked the question under the Dividing Fences Act whether they'd contribute 50% as it's on part of their land, and they're stating that they're exempt from that in terms of the Dividing Fences Act. Just want to understand, may not have but they actually be exempt from contributing?
Yes, I actually looked into this issue a couple of months ago, and the short answer is yes. The Dividing Fences Act in WA does not apply to council-owned land, so they are exempt. I've looked into it before.
Is that the city of Swan, Greg?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't answer that, Simon, but yeah, you can.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
The question's really there in terms of why is it? Are they exempt though?
Exercise when Parliament passed the law, because it's just it probably could just
so much.
Yeah, there's so
council
many
land, Crown land, council land,
and basically every time
definitely them, Greg. It's not Crown land,
and it's owned by the city.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's like every time a fence needs to be replaced, normally the neighbours will go half on the fence. So I think that will just eat up to a lot of cost for the council. There are some ways where if the council workers or someone that the council employed damage the fence, then they'll be liable. That's a different issue. That's outside the Dividing Fences Act. So there are some grounds, but if it's just the fence needs to be replaced, it's unfortunate. And
is it a lot of dough, Greg?
Yeah, we're talking around $7,000.
Okay, fair bit. Yeah. All right, mate. No, well, according to the Act, there's not much your mum can do. Hey, Greg, are you near the little village, the Guildford village?
Yeah, not far from it.
Yeah, it's a nice spot, isn't it? You're getting an IGA Express there, mate.
We are indeed. Let's hope that there's enough parking there to accommodate the IGA. That's always going to be the big challenge, because it's a fairly busy road that goes through West One all the way to the valley and back through Guildford across the railway line. So
yeah, it's in the on the grounds of the bottle shop there. Hey, Greg, nice to talk to you. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, guys.
See, mate, not much we can do, we don't think. G'day, Mo.
Yeah, good morning, Simon and Nick. My question is, what do I require from the person who is going to be my power of attorney? What is name, address, date of birth, email address, phone number? What's the requirement? What do I need to get from him?
So is this person a relative or a friend?
A friend.
Okay, so you just need his name, their address. You can also download, you can either get a lawyer to prepare a power of attorney, or you can download a power of attorney kit online at the wa.gov.au website. That's for free. You download that, print it off. You put the person's name in. Then you have to get it signed with authorised witness. So 2 people have to sign it. One of them has to be an authorised witness, like a JP. Then your friend actually needs to sign the document as well. So your friend will have to sign an acceptance. And what that signature means, if you're acting as an attorney, you sign and say, yep, I'll act an attorney. And in the event that person who's nominated you loses mental capacity, then what you're saying is you're going to act and look after their financial affairs, and you have to act. And then if you want to back out, you have to go to State Administrative Tribunal and get permission to step away. So it's a big responsibility and for the person acting, so that's why they have to sign it as well. So yeah, you prepare it and give it to him to sign, and then you keep it as well. So you put it in a safe place, because as soon as you sign a power of attorney, your friend can actually go into the bank and do everything you can do with your money, right? Once they have the original. So you never give them the original, you just tell them where it is. And if something happens to you, they can get a locksmith in to go to your house, open your filing cabinet, and then get the original and then start acting.
That's good advice.
And if you want them to have the power to sell your house, then you have to lodge it within Landgate within about 2 months of signing it. So that's a big, so say if you need to sell the house to pay a deposit for a nursing home or something like that. So yeah, there's some things to bear in mind, Mo.
So I keep the original. So the person, he can't, while I'm still alive, he can't go and take my money out, can he?
Yeah, well, that's right. So you keep the originals. So he signs it, and then you take it back. Yeah. And remember, the power of attorney stops when you die. So then the will kicks in. The purpose of a power of attorney is if something happens to you and you can't make decisions for yourself, then that person can pay your bills and look after your money when you can't. So, but say if you go on a holiday and you want your friend to pay a bill for you and you still got mental capacity, then you can give them the original. They can do that, and then they give it back. So it operates while you've got mental capacity and also when you lose mental capacity.
So without the original, the attorney can't do anything, is it? He can't go to the bank and get my money out without the original?
Yeah, they'll need the original. The bank will most of the time need original, certified copy, and each bank have its processes. So yeah, yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Mo.
So,
good.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, thanks.
Cheers, mate. Have a good day. Mo from Duncraig, just mentioning earlier that my adult film name is Jamie Chester, and Michael says mine is Figaro Ventnor.
Ooh.
Thanks. What's yours?
Heidi Seagrave.
Not bad. Jimmy?
Jack Brighton. I just like the way you say that. Say it again. Jack Brighton.
Very nicely enunciated. 14 minutes to 11. Nick Maruchak is here from MKI Legal. Give us a call, 133 882, and he's got those final couple of tips that you should look at when you're contracting work around your house. Stay listening. 133 882. If you'd like to speak to Nick Maruchak from MKI Legal. Now, Nick, we've gone through a number of little tips that have come from you on when employing a contractor to do work around the home up to $20,000. What else do you have for us?
Oh, yeah. So the work would be from 7.5 to 500,000, right? Yep. And so another one is delays, right? So it's not uncommon for homeowners to have their work unfinished because builders and tradies are juggling multiple jobs, right? So then you leave in a bit of a pickle. So what you want to do here is you want to try and put into the contract expected start and finish dates and a timeline, or at the very least have a clause in there to say that the work will be completed within a reasonable time. Now, we understand sometimes delays are made outside the control of the builder and the tradie, but so that would be allowed. And if you have a dispute in relation to unfinished work, then you've got 3 years to lodge a complaint with the building commission if they're covered by if their work is between the $7.5 and $500,000 mark. And the last kind of tip is for shoddy workmanship, right? Poor quality work. So here, if you're covered by the Home Building Contracts Act, so if the work is within that $7.5 to $500,000 period, when a builder has to basically correct all defects at no cost within 4 months of practical completion, right? So that's what you want to do. You may also want to get someone else to come in and inspect the work as well, just to double check so there's no surprises later on. And for poor workmanship, you have 6 years when the work has been complete to make a complaint to the building commission. So it's an extra period of time, and the building commission can review it. And if the work is below quality, they can issue an compensation or force the builder to fix it as well. So that 6 year period is important. The biggest trap, and this is the unknown area, is something called latent defects, where the builder builds a house and latent defects you can't see, you don't know where they are, and they appear 20 years later, right? So that 6 year period has expired. That is a more complicated legal issue involved, but so yeah, watch out for this.
No, well done. I think that's very good. Do you think, so say with smaller renovation jobs and jobs around the place, so closer to the $7,000 mark than the 500,000, Nick, do you think the fact that we have Uber in our lives and disruptors in our lives, an Airtasker where we tend to shop around but perhaps pay people cash, that because those things are legitimised, maybe even Airbnb to an extent as well, we are now more inclined to lower the bar of expectation a little on when we enter into a contract, whether that's psychological or sociological. We do, well, if you're going to pay a lot less for an Uber or for an Airbnb to a landlord, I think it's now part of our thinking that we look around for a bargain and don't necessarily go after certification, don't necessarily don't care as much about quotes as long as we get the job done for as inexpensively as possible.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's why it's important to check the qualification, because you can, if you get someone unqualified to do it, that's too good to be true price, you can have unsafe work, you know, you can have limited recourse if the work is substandard, if they're not licensed. So yeah, sometimes you might have to pay more to get that a licensed, reputable business, but at least it lowers the risk of things going wrong and gives you more recourse because these scams, right? Someone takes your money, they leave and they disappear. No one's going to compensate you if you can't find them. Yep. There's nothing there. If they don't have the insurance in place, it's tough luck. So yeah, there's always the balance. Yeah,
all right. Nick, in previous times I've chatted to you, you're often doing some work on online portals. We talked about power of attorney being a downloadable kit. We talk about downloadable wills. How's your work progressing in this area with your legal initiatives?
Yeah, so I spend a bit of time also developing software, using AI to try and make legal law more affordable. And one of the things we're doing is we're doing prenups. So prenups, they're on the rise because house prices are going up. We're going through a big intergenerational wealth transfer. The baby boomers are passing on inheritance to everyone. So people want to protect their inheritance. They want to protect their house, especially if you're already separated first time. Second relationship, you don't really want to lose half your stuff again. So more and more people getting prenups, and we're kind of offering the cheapest prenups in Australia. So there are about for 6PR listeners, we can do it for $1,000 plus GST. We did have that price for everyone, but just raised them a little bit to $1,500 plus GST. Whereas a normal prenup, you go to a lawyer, and my friend was just told me that his lawyer quoted him $10,000 for a prenup. So they can go up, and the average lawyer charges about $5,000. So we're using AI to kind of lower the cost in that area. So
that's really interesting. So as property prices go up and the median house price throughout WA and Australia, prenups are becoming more and more popular because of that.
Yeah, they're increasing on the rise, driven by those two things. Because a prenup can actually be a good thing as well, because, and I say that, I know it's got stigma, but your wealth, your biggest influence on how your wealth in life can be dictated by the person you marry, right? So going through a prenup is actually doing like a bit of a financial due diligence on your partner, and you can have a discussion about how you're going to contribute to the house and the house repayments and stuff like that, and you can put that in the prenup. So a lot of people get prenups when there's an unequal wealth distribution, say if someone's got a house or stuff like that. But even if you're on the same page in terms of wealth, you may have different expectations of how you spend your money. So you can put that in a prenup as well, and you can go, well, if I contribute more to the house than you, because you spend your money on all this frivolous stuff, I'm going to get more out of it. So
very interesting.
Yeah. So it's not just something for the wealthy. And our society's expectations, attitude towards it is changing. And another big way they're used is when a parent helps out their child to buy a house, to get that deposit and stuff like that.
We've had callers on that, haven't we? Well, you and I have.
Yeah. The best way to protect that loan that you give to your kid is through a prenup. Because if you don't get a prenup, then it makes it harder in the court.
What's the full correct legal term? Is this prenuptial agreement?
Binding financial agreement.
Financial agreement, yeah.
At any stage, you can get one before the relationship starts, during the relationship, or even after its end, as a way to split assets. So there's no restrictions on the timing of it.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next week, hey?
Yeah.
When you come in, let's have a chat about binding
financial agreements.
Or prenups. Good on you, mate. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Bowie.
Enjoy the rest of your day and your working week. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Nick Maruchak from MKI Legal. We'll talk about prenups next week. That's very interesting. 3.5 minutes to 11 o'clock.